Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach, and today I'm going to talk about a fella who's priced under 600k, and I think he can be a top 6 midfielder. He's one of my absolute faves, and his name is Clayton Oliver. I am being a little bit cheeky with the title because, let's face it, he's under 600k by about $7,000. But before I get into him, some good comments floating around. I've enjoyed a bit of the banter about Shorty's hair. Yes, it's a little out of control. The video with Langus the other day, I quite enjoyed a bit of the humour surrounding Shorty's hair. Yeah, it's getting a bit out of hand, but we'll see how we go. But let's get back on track. Clayton Oliver, I'm an enormous fan. You would have seen my player profile probably a couple months back now. But I genuinely believe he can up his average big time. Now, last year, okay, it was tough, particularly the first 10 or so rounds. But the back end was really good. Last 12 games, he averaged 113.5. And it wouldn't take a major jump because, 2018, he averaged about 114. I'll try and get up the exact stats here. But I just love the way he goes about it. He's got that big point-scoring mode about him in terms of ticking contested ball, tackles, and just the quantity. He really just racks it up. And it wouldn't be a crazy thing for him to up his average anyway. So 109.4 last year, 114.7 in 2018. The bloke's not even 23 yet. He's only played 82 games. So he's really coming into his absolute own. And interestingly enough, last year was his third highest averaging year. You know, he's only played 4 seasons. That was his second worst. Now, he's burst onto the scene. Now, people will immediately question his ball use, and they'll say that's what'll hold him back. But it wasn't too long ago that there were those question marks on Fife, and now we see him averaging 120. I remember, I think a couple of years, you can go back in the stats, he averaged like 105, 106-ish, and the big question mark was that he turns it over too much. But players and superstars, they can correct it. And I think the next year or maybe the one after, he averaged that 124 or whatever it was when he won his Brownlow. So yes, we can class guys as poor users of the ball or this limitation here and there. But then all of a sudden, boom, they have a fantastic season and we don't talk about that anymore. I think Oliver, I'm expecting at least about that 111, 112 average minimum, but I really think 115, 116-ish is very possible. And I know it's not enormous value at about 593k, but there's a little bit of value there because of the poor start to last season. Everything went wrong for the Demons. It was a terrible start to the year. It was a terrible year. But he's got one of the best ruckmen just tapping it down to him. He's the main man in there. He's just a workhorse. There was a bit of concern about his shoulders last year too, whether he was confident enough early in the season after, I think it was both shoulders had operations on them. So I'm a massive fan of him. Wins plenty of the footy, inside bull, tackler, has probably the best hands in the game. And I bet you're wondering, Shorty, you can't just come out and say he's going to be top 6. You got to back it up. Tell me who's not going to be in the top 6, because I'll name 6 blokes better than him. Well, let me just give you a little walkthrough of what I'm thinking. Now, I have 4 or 5 guys in front of him, and that's Neil, McRae, Cripps, Fife, and I've got Dunkley in there. I reckon Dunkley, I mean, we know how he finished last year. What was the last 16 rounds was just enormous. I think he averaged 120 plus. Huge stuff. And then also in the mix, I've got the likes of Dangerfield and Kelly. You put Bontempelli in there. Treloar is always around the mix, but I don't think he can quite go too much higher. And I've got Oliver right in there, number 6. I'm putting him in front of Dangerfield, only just. And him and Kelly, it was really tough to split. And look, to be honest, I wouldn't be shocked if Oliver outscores Fife. Now, I know people might kick and scream and that sort of thing, but Fife has, throughout his years, probably averaged between 108 and 113 a lot of the time. And his unbelievable years, Brownlow winning years, have been 120. So it does fluctuate. That's just a prediction. But I'm pretty comfortable in saying that I think it'd be top 6. I do feel like McRae, Cripps, Neil, Dunkley, and they are the absolute cream of the crop. And Dunkley's still got some proving to do. That's a bit prediction as well, but it's a somewhat big call, and we'll monitor this one pretty close. Some people might be screaming Tom Mitchell at me as well, but I don't think he's going to recapture that form for the entire season. I think there'll be times where the body gets the better of him, and he feels the fatigue of such an amount of time out of footy. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Oliver was in my very first team, and he hasn't moved. So I think a fair bit of my other midfielders have moved, to be honest. There's been a bit of switching in that, which I'll take a look at in my next team view, which will probably be some stage, maybe over the weekend, early next week. But keen for some more practice games. I'm filming this as the Bombers and West Coast are just about done. It looks like Devon Smith is having a reasonable game. I'm getting some messages from Langers. Sounds like he's going all right, so I'll be interested to review that one and take a bit of a closer look. But great to see more practice games going, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.